Good evening, everyone. Time for another silver update. You're looking at the 10-minute chart of silver provided by netdania.com. You can click on the link below. And we did get the rally that I thought we might get. I had my buy stop triggered at 2680. That was just purely going by the correction through time. When I saw the rapid decline begin to go sideways, this is a very unusual pattern when you get a sort of 90-degree angle like we have here. So what I was expecting, that if this correction in time actually crossed through the existing downtrend line, that we could very well get a rally, and that we might not be able to buy again in the 26s. Again, we could turn around and go down from here quite easily, but we also could continue to rally. So the next point that we're looking for as far as these downtrend lines, you can see these two lines are actually going to intersect here pretty soon at around 2770 to 2780. If we get a rally up through here, then that's going to trigger another buy signal and a potential long-term type of bottom in this market. So that's possible. It doesn't look like your typical bottoms, which usually are on a spike, but then again, anything's possible in this market. The divergence today between the Dow, with the Dow moving down dramatically and silver moving up quite dramatically, this is a overlay of the Dow and the SLV as a proxy for the price of silver. And you can see that on Friday there was a big, huge spread. The Dow was only down about 1% for this period, and silver was down 7. Now silver's down 4, and the Dow's down about 2.5. So are they going to turn around and cross each other? In the past, we've seen that with relentless hammering of the stock market, eventually silver gives way. So that's quite possible. It's also possible that they can both turn and rally from here, and then of course ultimately what I think is going to happen is they will cross, and as the Dow is on its way to a 1-to-1 ratio with gold, and potentially even a 1-to-1 ratio with silver. So that's an interesting change in the sentiment of the markets. Now, the Dragon coin that I had purchased, I covered. They added another 450. Now with that 450, there's 171 left. So it seems that a lot of other people had the same idea that I did. Not a lot, but a few other people. So we'll see how many APMEX has. If this doesn't, these 171 sell, and this doesn't go out of stock, then that would definitely be strong confirmation of what the question was the other day about them possibly holding back some inventory. I can see one time them happening to get a delivery in just in time, but to have that happen twice in a row, that would be fairly unusual. I don't think the Perth Mint can ship out that fast. So it's going to be interesting to see what they have after these run out. And on to the question of the night, and that is from Palin, and he links a chart here. This was a chart that I had on the blog, where this is the buy stop that I was just pointing out here that was triggered, and then the other two buy stops. So he's referring to that chart that I posted on the blog. And he says, regarding that chart, the paper market gives buy and sell signals through moving averages and lines of support and resistance. I've been following you for quite a while. You've proven to me you have a pretty good grasp on short-term and mid-term signals. Long-term, we're all waiting for that $1,000 silver day. What many do not understand is that a buy signal in a downtrend chart is also a short covering signal. Likewise, a sell signal in an uptrend chart is also a fresh short signal. As long as the paper markets rule spot, paper shorting will occur, but does not have to be the enemy. Are you playing Forex or another paper vehicle short on a regular basis? If not, I suggest looking into it. Since we're all long physical silver, shorting paper silver is effectively a covered short. Shorting Forex silver using obvious stops at major resistance is a great way to put your chart skills to profitable use, hedge your stack, and also generate further capital to purchase deeper stock on dips that test but bounce back off major support. So basically, the question is, do you hedge your silver using paper shorts? Actually, I don't. I have done that one time. I made the call of the drop back in September, this drop here, and if you remember, if you watch my videos at that time, you remember that I think this was my line here. When this line was penetrated, I got into AGQ puts and did pretty good with those. That's the only time that I have hedged in that way. And I'm not sure why I did that when I never done that before. I think it just happened to be that I had some money in my brokerage account at that time, and it seemed pretty clear to me that Clive Mond was going to be correct on the call, and it just I just made the decision. But overall, I don't hedge silver. I don't really believe in hedging silver. There's a number of reasons for that. First of all, the reason is going to be that one of the main reasons you get into physical silver and gold is that you don't trust the paper currency system. If you don't trust the paper currency system, then you probably agree with me that at some point it's going to blow up. Now, it's true that if you're a very good trader and you continually make profits and then continually pour those profits into physical silver, you could come out better in the long run. I frankly have never been that good of a trader. I'm better at picking directions and things that I'm not involved in. The quote, I think, that's on the blog, the quote of the day on the blog for me is pretty appropriate. This is from Ed Sakota from, well, I'm sorry, that's I changed it, but it was from Ed Sakota from Market Wizards, and he basically said that people pretty much get what they want out of the market, and people who want to lose, they win by losing. I'm that sort of a trader when it comes to futures. I just simply can't seem to keep my gains. I give them back. It's a psychological thing, but I've never really had a problem being right with silver because I just have one direction with silver, and that's buying more. So I really only need to look for good buy points and points to buy the dip. And with that, I wanted to review for those who haven't heard it. I have covered it before, but it's very, very important because it's to this point, and this is from the Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, Jesse Livermore. And of course, for those of you who've heard it, you're going to have to hear it again. But for those who haven't heard it, it's one of the most important stories in that book, and it's about a man named the Partridge. And I'll read that real quick. Mr. Partridge, a man named John Fanning, is talking to Turkey, or he was called the Partridge. Mr. Partridge, I've just sold my Climax Motors. My people say the market is entitled to a reaction, and I'll be able to buy it back cheaper, so you better do likewise. That is, if you've still got yours. Elmer looked suspiciously at the man to whom he'd given the original tip to buy. The amateur or gratuitous tipster always thinks he owns the receiver of his tip body and soul, even before he knows how the tip is going to turn out. Yes, Mr. Harwood, I still have it, of course, said Turkey gratefully. It was nice of Elmer to think of the old chap. Well, now is the time to take your profit and get in again on the next dip, said Elmer, as if he had just made out the deposit slip for the old man. Failing to perceive enthusiastic gratitude in the beneficiary's face, Elmer went on, I've just sold every share I owned. From his voice and manner, you would have conservatively estimated at 10,000 shares. But Mr. Partridge shook his head regretfully and whined, No, I can't do that. What? Yelled Elmer. I simply can't, said Mr. Partridge. He was in great trouble. Didn't I give you that tip to buy it? You did, Mr. Harwood, and I'm very grateful to you. And Indeed I am, sir. But hold on. Let me talk. And didn't that stock go up 7 points in 10 days? Didn't it? It did, and I'm very much obliged to you, my dear boy, but I couldn't think of selling that stock. You couldn't? Asked Elmer, beginning to look doubtful himself. It's a habit with most tip takers to be tip givers. No, I couldn't. Why not? Elmer drew nearer. Why, this is a bull market, the old fellow said, as though he had given a long, detailed explanation. That's all right, said Elmer, looking angry because of his disappointment. I know this is a bull market, as well as you know, but you'd better slip in that stock of yours and buy it back on the reaction. You might as well reduce the cost to yourself. My dear boy, said Old Partridge in great distress, my dear boy, if I sold that stock now, I'd lose my position. And then where would I be? Elmer Harwood threw up his hands, shook his head, and walked over to me to get sympathy. Can you beat it? He asked me in a staged whisper. I ask you. I didn't say anything, so he went on. I give him the tip on Climax Motors. He buys 500 shares. He's got 7 points profit. I advise him to get out and buy him back on the reaction, and that's overdue even now. And what does he say when I tell him? He says, if he sells, he'll lose his job. What do you know about that? I beg your pardon, Mr. Harwood. I didn't say I'd lose my job, cut in the old turkey. I said I'd lose my position. And when you're as old as I am, and you've been through as many booms and panics as I have, you'll know that to lose your position is something nobody can afford, not even John D. Rockefeller. I hope that stock reacts, and you will be able to repurchase your line at a substantial concession, sir, but I myself can only trade in accordance with the experience of many years. I paid a high price for it, and I don't feel like throwing away a second tuition fee. But I am as much obliged to you as if I had the money in the bank. It's a bull market, you know. And he strutted away, leaving Elmer dazed. And Jesse Livermore goes on to explain the incredible importance of that. And the reason why I read that again, it's so important to understand. There's a lot of people, and with the recent scuffle with Don Harold and with others about selling up here or selling here and buying back on the reaction. Yes, you can, but you see, if you sell it all here or any of those places, you might not get back in. And that's because it can go away. It can go way past where you thought. Some people thought when it went around here to 22 and broke out, it was overbought. Some people thought it was overbought there. Some people thought it was overbought there. And it actually turned out to be overbought here at 49. But if you would have sold everything here, and as it kited past you, when would you have gotten in? You wouldn't have. You would have lost your position. So that's a key principle, that if you're stacking physical silver, that you maintain your position. It's much easier to add on the dips if you're convinced that we're going higher and you can just keep buying. It's called keep stacking. Now, the other point I wanted to make about that is so very important is there's going to come a time, I'm totally convinced there is going to come a time when you won't be able to get back in. And you may have, I have positions in various Perth items. I like the Perth coins for a number of reasons. One, the coins come in plastic sealed containers, each one, so they have a very good numismatic potential. I love the RCM Wildlife series, but they're subject to milk spots. They're also subject to scratching against each other in the rolls, etc. So far and away, my favorites are the Perth Mint products. Now, it's not conducive to buying and selling and buying back. That was my original plan, and I probably would have actually been able to stack more silver that way, but it's just not comfortable for me to stack that way. So for me, it's very simple. You have a position and you intend on increasing it, and you're just simply looking for lower entry points, and if you don't pick the exact spot, that's fine. You'll get another chance because they're always going to smash it down. But when you see the price collapsing or dropping very low, you should be thinking about adding to your position, not losing your position. And we'll talk to you next time.